Hello everyone, welcome to another video from Your Tech Today. In this video we're going to do the camera review of the Redmi 3S Prime. So it has a front facing 5 megapixel camera which can record up to 720p in video, and we have a rear facing 13 megapixel camera with a single tone LED flash, and it's capable of recording up to full HD. It does support constant autofocus during video, and also it has phase detection autofocus, and there is no optical image stabilization inbuilt into the phone. So at this price we do not expect that also. So before we take a look at the camera sample, we'll quickly take a look at the camera interface. So this is how you start the camera, and to flip from front to rear facing camera you can just do it simply like this, or you can just slide onto the screen and it changes the cameras. So over here you have the shutter button, and you have the HDR on and off mode. You have the flash toggles over here, and to go into the video recording mode you can simply do it like this. So in the camera mode, when you slide from bottom to up, you get different camera modes, which is manual, handheld Twilight mode, timer mode, beautify, panorama, straighten, and scene selection. So we will go through these one by one. So in manual mode, you can just adjust the ISO, which goes from auto to 3200. The noise level at 3200 will be very high, so you can adjust it accordingly. Also, you can adjust the white balance. So you cannot set the white balance number, but you can just select different modes which are already available over here. The next mode which is available is handheld Twilight mode. So what this mode does is it is meant for taking stable and noise-free photos, at least relatively lesser noise photos, in handheld situations in low light. So it increases the shutter speed and takes a number of pictures at different ISO ratings and tries to get you the best possible results in a low light situation. So next is timer mode. So in timer you can select from 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and also there is a mode called audio. So in audio, when you put it to audio, you can just make a noise, like you can say shoot or cheese or anything. If it detects an audio input, it will start taking the pictures. Let me just show it to you. So let me say shoot, and you can see the timer starts and it takes a photo. There is no specific word, just it looks for the audio. Next is beautify mode with the rear camera. So if you want to take a selfie and you want to smoothen your skin or something like that, you can use the beautify mode. Panorama is nothing but it just takes a 180-degree panorama, not a 360 one, and we will take a look at the samples very soon. And also the stitching of the panorama seems to be pretty good. And next mode is straighten. So the straighten mode helps you take the horizon absolutely correct. So suppose you are shooting a landscape photo, so you will get the horizon absolutely straight, and if you are not placing your camera correctly, it will just crop that much of the image. And then next is scene mode. In this you can select different scenes, and the camera settings will be adjusted accordingly to get you the best pictures. So over here we can find the settings. So these are the settings for the camera, not the video mode. So in settings we can see there is location info, camera sound, and then you can add a timestamp to your photos. You can have grid lines to compose your photos properly. It can also scan QR codes, and you can select whether what does the shutter button do when you hold it for a long time. You can select what kind of pictures you want to take, whether widescreen or standard. You will get full resolution only in the 4:3. Next is picture quality. You can select it standard, low. It will affect the file size and the quality of the picture. And face detection is there, and in the front camera it will show your age and gender. What does the volume button do? You can change it to zoom, shutter, or just volume. And then anti-banding is there, according to if you're getting some bands in your video or in your photos in artificial lighting indoors. You can change it to 50 or 60 Hertz depending upon your area, and you can put it to auto, or you can switch it off. So you can also change the exposure settings, that is frame average, center weight, and spot metering is also there. And all these I would suggest contrast, saturation, and sharpness you can keep it at normal, because that will get you the most consistent results. And there is just a software addition of sharpness and saturation, which you can do in editing also using any of the apps. And you can go back to restore default settings. Let's quickly look at the front camera also. So there are not many settings Actually, there are no settings available. So both in the rear and front facing camera, you slide from the top to get these different filters, and you can see the live result of the filter which is applied. So you have all these filters available over here, and you can use accordingly whichever you like. There is no other setting over here or modes over here. So if you slide up, there is nothing, and there is just a timer, and there is a beautify setting. So you can select the beautify on, off, or low, medium, high. And the front facing camera is also not autofocus, it is a fixed focus camera. I wish they should have added mirror enabling, like mirror mode enabling, because you do get flipped images. So whatever text is there, suppose if you're taking a selfie, you will get it like a mirror, and like a mirror image. So I will show you that in the sample shortly. Now let's go to the video. So in video, when you slide up, you just have the time-lapse mode. There is no slow motion available in this phone. So time-lapse mode works pretty well. You can adjust the timing how you like it. I will show you. Again, you can adjust the settings of the video by pressing the settings button over here, and you have again the location info, the video quality, and you can enable image capture while recording. So that feature is there, but you have to switch it on. I forgot to switch it on while taking my sample videos. Also, there is constant autofocus or tap to focus available. I kept it at constant autofocus, and you can adjust the time-lapse interval over here. So rest of the settings are pretty self-explanatory. So it only shoots in full HD, and there is no even digital stabilization or optical stabilization available in the camera. When you slide from the top, there is nothing. And then we go to the front camera. Again, there are no settings, just you press the record button to start recording your video, and the front facing camera records in 720p. The rear can record up to full HD 30 frames a second. 720p 30 frames a second is the front camera. But as the light reduces, it will reduce the frame rate, and you will get a choppy video, which you will see as we see the samples. One more thing I would like to mention is that there is no tap the fingerprint take a photo feature as of now, but I think Xiaomi can add it with a software update if they wish to. That is not something, even on the Redmi Note 3 that feature was not there in the starting, but it came very soon with a software update. So I wish Xiaomi adds that very soon. So let's take a look at some of the sample pictures that I have collected over here, and let's talk about them in detail. So this is the first photo that I have taken with this camera. It's a plant in my balcony, and it's in daylight situation, not very bright, but it was somewhere around evening, and the sun was not directly hitting the plant, but some diffuse lighting was available, and you can see the result over here. The focus is spot on, the colors are very natural and nice, and the bokeh effect is very nice, and it focuses also quite nicely, this camera. Again, a similar shot of the same plant, and you can see it's pretty sharp and nice. This is an indoor shot, and this wall hanging above this is there's a tube light a little maybe 3 feet above that, and I have taken this shot, and you can see the clarity of the image. So in indoor lighting condition, and it is sort of bright, so I feel it is pretty nice. You do see some sort of noise creeping in indoor lighting condition, but nothing too bad for this price at least. In this shot, I'm trying to show you that not necessarily you have to focus on the object in the front. You can focus somewhere else also, like I focused on the back over here somewhere, I think, and it has got the photo pretty nicely, and the bokeh is again visible over here. As it is an f2.0 aperture, so the bokeh is pretty impressive for that. Another picture of the plant. So this is in a shop, the fruits were there, and it is in shop light. There was a tube above it, probably you can see it over here, and you can see the colors are pretty natural, and otherwise it was a dark situation. There was just light above this fruit stall, you can say. So again, very nice. So this is what I was talking about. This is a front facing camera photo, and you can see there is no mirror mode, so the text over there is mirrored. So that's something which Xiaomi can also add with the software update in the future, and that would be really helpful. So this is in dark, sort of dark situation. It's a night time, and there is no street light or anything hitting my face that much. So this is again, I'm pointing out that the text is mirrored. So let's take a look at some of the daylight samples. It's a cloudy day, not very bright sunlight. It's about 5 in the evening. So I wanted to test it because I didn't want purely high bright sunlight to take pictures, because most of the cameras do perform well in that lighting situation. This was sort of cloudy, not very bright, and still the camera performed really well. This is in HDR mode, so we will go through the non-HDR images very shortly, but you can see the focus is very nice, the lens used on the camera is very nice, and the pictures are absolutely sharp. Even the distant objects are as sharp as they can be. So there is a software sharpening added to the images, but it's not too much like some of the Samsung phones in the past. But also the camera itself captures the images very sharply, and the focus is also very nice. This is an HDR image. This is also an HDR image, and now next one what we see will be a non-HDR image. So here you can see without HDR how much the camera can perform. So you can see the buildings here in the HDR image are also exposed very nicely. The sky is also exposed nicely. Everything, the exposure is quite nice. Only thing is, in HDR mode you have to keep your hand steady when you take it, otherwise you can get little worse results than this. But that shouldn't be much of a problem in bright sunlight. So I would suggest you keep the HDR mode on by default whenever you're using this camera, because without the HDR mode, the dynamic range of the camera is not very good. Again, that can be fixed with the software update a little bit at least. So this is also an image of the trees over there. So this is a non-HDR image, the first one, and then as we shift to the HDR, you can see there is so much, this image is so much better, the colors are so much better, the coconut trees over there, the leaves are in their true color, and in the non-HDR image it's not performing that well. Another reason to keep the HDR mode on. This is a macro shot again, and I try to take these similar kind of images for every camera review that I do, because suppose you have doubts between two cameras, you can go back and look at the camera review of that phone in my video playlist, and you can come to know, at least to some extent, that how these cameras compare. So this is the satellite receiver part of a dish, and you can see it's come out very sharp. This is in HDR again, and you can see the rust and all the small cracks and whatever deformities are there on the plastic very nicely. So again, a very good performer, and the bokeh effect also is quite nice, and it catches the focus very easily. So you have to just tap and it will take the focus immediately, or automatically also it can focus while taking pictures, but it can take a little bit longer. I just prefer to tap. Again, a macro shot. So this picture I take to show the bokeh effect in its full form. So this pipe over here is very close to the camera, and it focused nicely, and there are two more pipes, or another pipe at least you can see over here, which is absolutely blurred out, and it looks quite nice. It sort of gives like the DSLR camera image kind of effect. So if you take a macro shot, something like that, you can get pretty good bokeh effect. So these are some of the filters which are installed into the camera, which I showed you. So I have taken the shots with those filters, just to show you how they look. This is a panorama picture. As you can see, it has been stitched really well. So let's take a look at the whole image. It starts from here, and as we go, you don't see that much, actually you can't notice much of stitching anywhere. So it has taken it really nicely and stitched it quite well. Only thing is, the HDR mode is not available in the panorama thing, so you can get little not so good results, but with some editing you can fix it if you're really into panoramas. Another panorama over here, just a different framing, again quite nicely stitched. So this image, again in the K5 Note also have taken this. So this really helps you understand HDR mode even in more detail. So this is the HDR image, and look at those beautiful colors and everything. I think it did a splendid job. And now when we shift to the non-HDR image, you will see the difference. So this is the non-HDR image. So unless you see the HDR image, you really can't appreciate the the advantage of having the HDR mode. Because if you just click this image and you didn't have the HDR mode, you would be like, yeah, it's good. But when you take it in HDR, it really makes a lot of difference with the exposure and colors. Again, over here, HDR, non-HDR. This is the front-facing camera image. I think it performs quite well. The only negative I would say is that it's not very wide. So, but it is good enough. And the beautification mode also works pretty well over here, and the sharpness is also there. You can see everything is nice and sharp and in focus. The skin tones also look quite nice. So this is the corridor, and it was very dimly lit, and this is the flash performance. So I am using the flash in this image. Yes, in low light conditions, even with the flash, you will have a bit of noise, and you can try to take a picture with the handheld Twilight mode and see what results you get. That we will take a look shortly, but this is the flash performance, and this corridor is almost completely dark. So this is again showing the colors. I think does a good job in showing natural colors. Similar image showing different colors. So then I happened to be in a grocery shopping. I was out for grocery shopping, and as soon as I entered the shop, the power went. So this is a shot I took with the flash, and you can see, I just tried to get you different lighting conditions. So with the flash in the shop and there was no power, it's completely dark. Again, it was completely dark over here, and this is with the flash. You can see the reflection of the flash over there, and then the power came, and this is with the indoor lights of the shopping center, and you can see the difference without flash, with flash and dark, and without flash with the indoor lighting, quite bright lighting. So you can see how the camera performs in such a situation. And this is again a close-up shot of this product over here, and the bokeh in indoor lighting, which is bright indoor lighting. And finally, I will show you the handheld Twilight mode. So this image was taken with the handheld Twilight mode on. It is pretty dark. It's night outside. There are some lights in the hallway, but I think this was fair enough to test out the handheld Twilight mode, because if you go in under more low light, the image is not really going to be very good, because these sensors, as with all phones, suffer under very low light conditions. So I thought this is good enough to test. So you can see how it performs in handheld Twilight mode, and when I shift to non-handheld Twilight mode with it off, you can see the difference. The image is blurry, there is more noise. Me shooting it handheld, both the photos were in similar conditions, and you can see in this there was a blurriness because of handshake, because in low light the shutter speed really goes down, and you will get shake handheld, and you really can't get sharp images in any phone for that matter, because the shutter speed is low. And with the mode on, it has bumped up the shutter speed. It takes a few photos which you will not really know, but that's how this mode works, and tries to keep the noise low and tries to get you a sharper image even in low light. So I hope this helps you out with the handheld Twilight mode. So now take a look at some of the video samples, and then we'll come back for the conclusion. So guys, this is the front facing camera video sample in low light. So I'm standing under the street light in a busy area. So you can see what is the performance like. I'll move to a darker area now. So you can see. So this is the kind of quality you can expect in a street light condition. This is the same lighting condition, full HD video recording with the rear facing camera. and it is in constant autofocus mode. Some dogs have come to say hi. So this is the street light I was standing under, and it started to rain now. So let's see whether it can focus. Yes, it has focused on my hand. And back to the background. So it seems to be working well. This is a little more low light condition. It feels like it is hunting for focus in low light, but it does get the focus eventually. And I'm hand holding it and I'm walking now, so you can see what's the shake you can expect. So guys, I'm making this video with the front facing camera, 5 megapixel camera of the Redmi 3S. It records in 720p and the audio also is through the inbuilt microphone. It's not very sunny right now, it's actually very cloudy and it's going to rain pretty heavily, I feel, in a few minutes or a few hours. It's been raining in Bangalore quite a lot in the past few days. So you can see it's doing a good enough job of exposing in this light. I didn't want to shoot in pure bright sunlight because in that these cameras will perform well. So I wanted to test it out and show it to you in sort of a cloudy situation where the light is less, so that we can come to know how is the video quality. So I'm walking around handheld. I am on my terrace. One thing I would like to say is that I don't think the front camera, the lens is very wide angle. So you won't be able to fit many people in your selfies. So this is the full arm's length that I'm holding it at. And definitely it's not as wide as we would like it to be. But I think the picture quality is okay. I mean the video quality. It's pretty dangerous to walk on my terrace because there is a web of wires and pipes and I don't want to trip over them. So guys, this is the rear camera video sample. It's recording in full HD. Audio also is through the inbuilt microphone. It's not very sunny, it's very cloudy and the sunset is over there. The phone does support continuous autofocus in video. And we're going to test it out right now. So I'm going to put my hand in front. So as you can see, it has focused and it has focused back. Let's check that out again. Focused. That was pretty quick. And back. So this is performing better than the Redmi Note 3 in terms of continuous autofocus. I hope you got an idea about that. Also, you can take a look at the bokeh levels. So you can see the blurriness. If I tap to focus, you can see the background, the buildings. Are pretty blurred out. So it gives you a nice effect if you take close-ups of somebody. Let's check out the digital zoom. So it does allow you to zoom 8x, but as you can see it's very shaky without optical image stabilization, and digital zoom anyways is of no use because it's just degrading the video quality. So this is at 0 zoom. So I'm slowly going to move from the light source here towards the dark hallway. And let's see how the video quality changes. So I've reached the end of the hallway and you can see it's pretty dark here. I think the frame rate has dropped quite a lot. There's a lot of noise and that's the light source. So I'm in the lift now and there's a 0-watt bulb or a 10-watt bulb over here. And again you can see the front facing camera video quality. With the rear camera, the quality improves. And this is the dark hallway again. There is no light source here. So the noise is less than the front facing camera, but still the quality is pretty bad. All these cameras suffer in low light, and this phone is no different. So rear camera has a flash during video, and the quality of the flash is also good. This is the sunlight legibility test of the Redmi 3S. So it's not very sunny right now. So in this kind of sunlight, the screen is pretty legible. No issues there. So I think outdoors you can use this phone easily. So I guess you have got a pretty good idea about the video capabilities also of the Xiaomi Redmi 3S Prime. And I think it performs really well. So this would be my verdict over here. That at the price point that this phone comes at, sorry, the body is a little stained. So the price point that this camera comes at, I think it's a very good camera performer also. It will serve your basic needs for everyday photo clicking without any problems. Even the video performance is quite good, and the audio recorded by the inbuilt microphones is also very good. If not very good, I would say at least it is satisfactory, and it is not bad in any way. And that is actually the verdict, because at this price point no other phone gives you all this. I would say the rear camera is quite nice. The front camera could have been a little better, at least it could have been a little wider, but really we can't complain, because at this price point it is surpassing any other product that we have in this range. And so it's a great product which Xiaomi has provided us. And in the camera department also, I would give it a thumbs up, and I would say that you can go ahead and buy this if camera is one of your priorities in this price range. Some of the negatives that I would say is that with the rear facing camera, the videos come out very shaky because there is no stabilization. I mean, there is no optical stabilization for sure, but some sort of digital stabilization, at least as an option, could have been added so that we could get a little bit more stable video. And on the front camera, again, as I've mentioned, that it could have been a little wider. And also I would say that they should add the option of taking picture with the fingerprint as soon as possible with a software update. And again, if you're nitpicking, I would say there is no slow motion mode. So that also, if it could have been added, it would be just another extra feature that would be helpful to the customers. So overall, a great camera, definitely a go, definitely a thumbs up. And you can go for it for the camera. There are no problems with it as such. So guys, if you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section below. I'll try to answer it as soon as possible. And if you like the video, hit the like button. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps. I need your support. And thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.